Yeah, Karen, yeah.
For all of us who are a little bit nervous tonight, it's that moment where like, oh, it's happening. There's no more putting this off. There's no more wondering how it's going to go. We've arrived, and it feels like such a shehecheyanu to me. For those of you who aren't Jewish, shehecheyanu is a prayer that you say at almost every holiday that just says, thank you so much for bringing us to this point. And I am just over the moon with love for all of my participants and just immense gratitude for getting to do this project, which I really hope tonight will give you a good glimpse of. The backstory, and I know this was thank you to Sharon for writing about it in the Winnipeg Free Press. So those of you who had a chance to read that or follow me on Facebook know a lot about this project already. For those of you who know about it through participants, this project was inspired by another project that I was so lucky to get to be part of, called Stories to Song. And Stories to Song shows, I think every year they try to do it, 10 senior citizens from Winnipeg and 10 songwriters from Winnipeg. And we get paired up. And through an interview process, the songwriter sits with the senior and we hear their stories, and then we go and try to write a song about them from their story. And we get to present it back to them. The first one I got to do, you'll hear a little bit more about that in the end, was such an enormous experience for me. I have been a professional songwriter for over 20 years. I had never done such a direct exchange with another human being before, where they fed me with material like that, and I got to give it back to them with the skills I've honed for 20 years, and it made me want to find ways to do more. Then, thanks to a friend, who you'll also hear about a little bit later, I found out that the Jewish Foundation of Manitoba gives special project grants. And you can pitch a project that somehow benefits the Jewish community. And I thought, wait a minute. If I can take that project and bring it to the Jewish community, wouldn't that be wonderful? I can only imagine that Jewish seniors in this community have stories. By the way, all seniors have incredible stories. It is such an honor to sit with them and hear them. I wanted to take it one step further. If you have a cell phone and don't mind turning it off or muting it, that would be nice. If you need it for reasons that you don't want to share, you can leave it on. I wanted to take the project one step further because as I sat, I got to do it twice with Stories to Song. As I sat with these seniors, I was really aware of this historical, generational transfer of knowledge and wisdom. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if there was also a younger person here to witness that? I thought maybe I can recruit young people, at the very least to witness this interview process, maybe to ask some questions themselves, just to be present. How often do teenagers sit with senior citizens, other than maybe their own family? And then there was one more twist, because I like to make things extra complicated for myself. Wouldn't it be incredibly important to make that youth Jewish on the one hand, so that they can sort of get the legacy of this community, but also not Jewish? Because that barrier and boundary between communities is, in my mind, a big problem. It's easy to think in stereotypes if you don't sit with a human being and hear their individual story. And so I ended up pitching a project where I would have 2 teenagers for every interview. One Jewish, one not Jewish. What unfolded, I will try to share with you tonight in a condensed version. There will be a longer version from the video footage that I took. But this is just to give you a taste and for you to meet the participants am so incredibly fortunate to have met all of them. What beautiful, brave people. It takes a bit of courage to participate in a project like this. And you'll see that in each conversation, something totally unique emerged. But it wasn't just a one-way interview, like I thought it would be. Because the seniors were equally interested in what the young people had to say. And we compared notes about being alive and experiencing things. And you'll see that each conversation, we got really deep. We started with basic biographical questions. Where were you born? Where did your ancestors come from? Or where did you immigrate from? And then it just got deeper and deeper, and truths came out, and issues came out, and humanity came out, which is great if you're going to write a song about it. So tonight, you're going to meet the participants. You're going to see a very rawly edited mini clip from each interview, and you're going to hear all 5 songs. They've all been presented already to their subject, but they've never been shared publicly before until tonight. And I really hope you hear in these songs the specifics that arose from the interview and the common ground humanity that is the stuff of art. Thank you very much. And thank you to the Jewish Foundation of Manitoba for facilitating this amazing project. Goosebumps, just to see the kids and the seniors again. And I feel awkward calling them kids because they're not kids anymore. And seniors is like this really generic term. My people, my participants, my friends, to see them all together was really beautiful backstage. I would like to invite the very first pair of youth who can be as nervous as they want, because this isn't everybody's life skill to get up in front of people and talk, but for their courage to be here tonight and on stage, and also for their courage to participate in this. Just give them a round of applause.
Hi, I'm Abby Zentner. I'm 14 years old and I go to school here at Gray Academy.
Hi, I'm Sophia Tchaikovsky. I'm 16 years old and I go to Kelvin High School.
I want to get a bit of a glimpse. You heard about this project and you agreed to participate in otherwise very busy lives. Your teenagers are busier than they used to be, I've learned. What made you say yes?
Okay, my friend told me about this, and I thought it's very important to learn about everybody in our community, and I really wanted to, and this was just a really cool way to do it, and I had a lot of fun. It was really fun and a very interesting way to meet new people.
I heard about it through a family friend, and as a songwriter, I really wanted to learn about the experience from that perspective.
That's an important point too, because it was, as much as it was important for me to have youth and seniors meet, also to have a sort of witnessing process to how you can take life and turn it into art. And Sophia is also a songwriter, so it was great to have her extra ears in the mix. Before the interview, were you nervous? Were you worried? Were you curious? Like, what was your feeling going into it?
I wasn't really nervous, I just didn't know what to expect. I thought it would kind of just be like question, answer, but he asked us questions, we got very deep into it, like you said, and I got to get to know you and Sophia as well, so it was really fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I wasn't really nervous, more so just excited to get to meet people who I wouldn't have met otherwise and hear some cool stories.
Right on. Thank you very much, both of you. for these two lovelies was someone who is rather well known in the community, Bernie Bellin. Bernie owns and edits and runs the Jewish newspaper in town, and you probably know more about him than I do. But I was particularly interested in what it would be like to interview the person who's always the one giving the interviews. And there were some surprises. So I'm gonna go and show you the clip, and then I'm gonna share the song with you.
So because this is a Jewish project, and we want to get a sense of how the community here became a community, can you tell us how your family ended up in Winnipeg? Where did it come from before that?
Oh, that's very interesting. I have a family tree that traces my father's side, which came from Galicia, which is a province in Poland, and Lithuania, which is a separate country. That's on my father's side. And they came over in the early 1900s. And my mother's side came from Ukraine and Belarus, which is actually white Russia. So that's it, 4 different countries where and they all came in the early 1900s.
And where they come to the state, or they leave to escape?
Yeah, I don't know that they were, life is tough in Europe for everyone, and especially Jews. I don't know, this wasn't the story that you often hear about people who had gone through a pogrom. I don't know if that's a riot against Jews, where Jews were actually targeted and killed. I never heard that, but I knew they all had tough lives. All my grandparents and their sisters and siblings all came over.
Okay, so when you hear the words "my childhood," what images come to your mind? Like, can you give us a glimpse of what it was like growing up?
I had a very sheltered childhood. I grew up in West Oldham. I went to Jewish school, which was called Torah. My grandparents lived across the street from me. This is my mother's parents, and that is great. So, I don't know what's. I guess I know what it's like not to have a long family, but I had a long family. But the big change in my life we can talk about is when I was only 22, I was in law school, and I thought, I'm not sure I want to do this. And then I had applied to work at the post office for a summer job, but they didn't hire people for summer jobs. You either got hired or you didn't. And I got a letter while I was in law school saying, okay, we have an opening now. And I thought, okay, I'll try this for a while. I ended up doing it for 34 years. I was a letter carrier, and I loved it. And actually, it was around the same time that the Walkman radio came out. And I could listen to, I loved CBC, and it was so educational. So I was learning more by listening to the radio while I was delivering the mail. Plus, when the first cell phones came out, the big clunky ones. Yeah. I was one of the first to get one, so I was in touch. I put in some money, and my brother put in some money, and he had someone else who put in some money, and bought paper. And I thought, here, I'm a postman. I joke, if it had the word post in it, I was it. Canada Post, Jewish Post. It's all a little boring to me. And I read the young people, like I had a grad school before, I had a guy who came to school in 5, and he was talking about the world. Do you think about that? Yeah. Our young people, I think young people are obsessed with
Is your peer group, is anybody neutral about these subjects in your peer group? Because, it's happening.
Did you talk about it?
Yeah.
Or is it just you talk about it?
Yeah, we talk about it.
Okay.
In school too, and just when we're hanging out, we'll notice something, someone will say something, we'll all start talking grow. It's very scary.
Like, do you have a sense of hope or like activism or stuff that you can like just not just be in a state of worry and despair, but use like, in some good direction?
I should have heard this.
You have to write an article.
Yeah, for a class. You have to, every single person like in the world basically has to be like, down to actually do something, contribute to fix it. And like, if not, like nothing's gonna get done. It can't just be like one person fixing every single thing in the world, right? So.
Yeah, I think like the fact that it's something that's spoken about so often now is also really like makes you feel better about it, because there's a lot of really smart people that are doing things, and with the way like with the stuff that's available now with the internet and technology, like you don't have to have like millions of dollars or go to university to do something, you know. So there's that which is cool.
If you have one main message, it's the world's over.
Oh. It would be, you know, turn off your engines and get on your bike. Okay.
Okay, what do you wish people knew about you that they might not?
Oh, then the sarcasm is just a front. Okay, save it for my funeral because people will say, that's way much too nice for me.
So you get a glimpse of the depth and the directions that the conversation took, the humor, the joviality, the mood. It was really a lot of fun, that one. And just so incredible to hear, you know, these interview questions being asked both ways in this conversation. And what a deep question to ask young people today about global warming. When I usually give my concerts and I play my songs, my regular songs, I tell the story of the song. I don't have to with this one, because you just heard the story, and now you're going to hear the song. The only thing I'm going to add is that I had to sort of think about the musicality of each one. And there was no way Burning with this energy was going to get a sad folk song. So I had to think a little more, what's a little more, I don't know, I was thinking like Beach Boys or something with a bit of oomph to it. I had a really great high school teacher that when we had to give presentations, I might even say that in one of the interviews, she said, choose the most striking feature, the thing that struck you the most. And what struck me the most was that Bernie's always after the story, even when he is the story. next interview was a 2-for-1 special. I didn't know that for sure until I got there. And it made it so special. It would have been special anyway, but the way the two stories combined made it kind of epic. I would like to invite Lola and Oscar to come on stage. Do you want to introduce yourselves? Yes.
Hi, I'm Lola. I'm 15 years old and I go to Gray Academy.
Hi, I'm Oscar. I'm 15 years old and I go to Kelvin High School.
You got to see the other students in the hot seat, so you know what to expect. When you heard about this project, what made you agree to do it?
I've never really gone into a project anything similar to this, so I was just really interested in trying something new and really different.
I said I joined this project because I've always been really interested in different cultures and learning about the differences and similarities of cultures.
Did that happen, do you think?
Yes, definitely.
Was there anything in this particular interview, in this experience that was a remarkable or surprising or like a takeaway moment that you had for yourself?
I think just getting to hear two people's life stories in just one afternoon is incredible.
Mission accomplished.
I haven't been around a lot of senior citizens in my life, so just hearing about all their different wisdom and just the lives that they've lived was really interesting.
I didn't pay them to say these things, but it's working real well. Thank you so much. Phyllis and Nate Dana are no strangers to this community, but what a special honor to get to have heard about them. We have generational presence in this community as a Jewish community and the music community, and what a treat to spend an afternoon. One thing that also was really nice in this project is that a lot of the homes we went into, there was cake. It was a project perk, for sure, and the hospitality shown when we arrived there. There was just this dining room table. It looked like a Renaissance painting. There were grapes and there were cookies that Phyllis baked, and it was a real part of the experience.
Where were you guys born?
I was born in Saskatchewan. I think I was about a year old when I moved to Fisher Ranch. So that's where I was raised up until my father wanted me to have a bar mitzvah. We were the only Jewish family. One thing about him is that every Friday night he used to take the prayer book, and one of the things that he insisted, you want to go up and play? Yes, read a chapter. Read a chapter, not in English, but in Hebrew, right? He was the one that taught us Hebrew. My mother had very, very little to do with us. She was always a secular person.
Yeah.
And I loved her very, very much. But as far as this, she was in bed most of the time that I remember.
I was born in Winnipeg, very simple, I've lived here my entire life.
I think that a lot of people painted the town as everybody hates everybody. But I'll tell you what, nobody used to run around and call me a dirty Jew. Because I had friends who were Ukrainian and French.
Yeah.
If they heard this person would either have a bloody nose before we left, because we all stuck up. Since if anybody's going to call Nate a dirty Jew, it'll be us, not you. And that's the way it was. And even to this day, I still see some of these people.
Yeah, from your old town?
Not as often because they keep on dying off.
That's what happens when you get married. I went to a Jewish school, for kindergarten and up to grade 4. I went into a public school for grade 5. My very first day in public school, a little girl in my class named Barbara Pratt, on her looked at me and said, "You know, you're a dirty Jew." Well, I had never heard that before, and I said, "No, I'm not. I had a bad boss." And anyhow, we actually became friends along the way. Not so, not best friends, but we got along. But it was quite a surprising thing for me to hear. I never heard of anything
Here, in a very multicultural world. Like, do you see or witness or experience racism in your?
Well, I mean, Kelvin's not really the most friendly school in Winnipeg. There's a lot of different lifestyles of children that go to, or students that go to Kelvin. So there's a lot of bullying for not, having the nicest pair of shoes or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure really about racism, but more just kind of their lifestyle and
Right.
where they're living and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
Well, I go to an all Jewish school.
Right.
Of course, no one's going to be anti-Semitic, especially since it is a Jewish school. The majority of the people there and teachers. There's some people who live in, the family has been friends for generations.
Wow.
And so it makes it a lot, I guess, more difficult if you can't just be mean and never see them again. Since my grade, it's the biggest grade and we're only 40 kids.
Right.
I think
Because
the
of
smallness of it all
family, yeah.
makes it much harder for things to happen around everybody else.
I had quite a different experience from Nate. I grew up, with aunts and uncles and cousins and all kinds of Jewish people in my life. I sang with the senior choir.
Yeah.
And also the choir director for the junior choir. And I stayed a membership at a choir until, certainly till our daughter was born, after she was born. So I grew up in the synagogue, essentially, and it was a very important part of my life, and I enjoyed it. Among our generation, whether you were religious or otherwise, you married Jewish people.
Yeah.
That was very, that was very much consideration. And so I did. Coming up to 68 years ago, you didn't marry. That's a long time. It is. My parents, when they were trying to get married,
where was that taken?
Oh, I love these pictures.
What is the most important thing to you? So like, object or, person?
Open question.
Not because she's here. I hope someday you find yourself unimportant, but you gotta treat them right. Gotta do it with kindness.
I can give you the same short answer. I married my best friend, and he's still my best friend. And I'm very lucky. So how does that feel?
Very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, the head is clear.
easy to listen to. Well, that's good. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, well, that's how I felt after a 2-hour interview. In fact, when Lola and Oscar went home, I got to stay for supper, which was very lovely. And the conversation continued, and more and more and more depth of detail. And it's never enough. Editing this stuff is really hard because all of it's gold. It really is just the flavor and the tone and the musicality and the way people talk, and even the art in their homes. That was one thing that was really interesting, is no matter how religious or secular these people are, there's always Jewish art lurking somewhere in the home. But one thing, again, this interview was different because, and a bit longer, because there were 2 people and 2 stories intertwining, and the song also then had to be about 2 people, not 1. The love between these 2 people is so palpable, it had to be in the song, for sure. And one phrase that they used again and again was, "We're lucky. We're lucky, and we know we are." And I thought, gosh, if all of us could learn from that to be grateful for what we have, we'd be in better shape, I think. The other thing is a Canadian songwriter. Yeah, I'm also Israeli, but in my career, I'm mostly a Canadian songwriter, influenced deeply and heavily by American music. And to have this folky, finger-picky song, like Gordon Lightfoot-esque, but to have the word bar mitzvah thrown in there is remarkable to me. Because why not? Little representation in Canadian folk music, thanks to these participants. I should add that, of course, I'm coming and presenting these songs, but not ever as if you have to take it and like it. So in every senior or pair of seniors was invited to give feedback and suggestions and tweaks to make it feel like it really applied to them and represented them well. And it was interesting to get Phyllis's feedback and Nate's, where the slightly different choices were made, but that made it feel more yours, and I'm really glad that you did that. So here we go. This is called We're Lucky, and we know we are.
others still remain. With all the love and care they have still flowing in their veins. Sit and eat some cookies that I baked. Talk to me while I make tea. We can share some stories round the table of our pasts and family. We have very different childhoods, but we grew up right. From the start we liked each other and we seldom fight. We're lucky and we know we are. Nate lived in a town with Fisher Ranch. Mom was sick in bed most every day. Dad was pretty strict, said learn your Hebrew before you go on out to play. When it's time for your bar mitzvah to the city, we will go. No one here is like us, and your people you should know. Phyllis has a different tale. When Winnipeg was raised, sang in choirs at synagogue, her good voice always praised. They met as friends and friendship as it does to romance led. Soon enough before they knew it, Nate and Phyllis wed. We're lucky and we know we are. Nate digs up another story. Phyllis leans in close to hear. All the love she holds for him is evident and clear. He is such a good neshama, as they say, lovely soul. Won't you stay for dinner? The wind out there's getting cold. We're lucky and we know we are. We play bridge each week at Wayne Center. Most days we go for walks. We keep busy with the friends we have. Kids phone and have good talks. Grandkids phone most every week. Home care comes to take a peek. We're grateful for each day and every week. Nate has his black Russian, Phyllis pours wine in her glass. It's nice to see them smiling, you know, time it moves so fast. I might be a little biased. Ken Siegel was the next contestant on this wacky game show, and he actually came to me through Sally, who was the subject of the very first interview I did with Story to Song. In fact, we used her home as the place to do the interview in. And it was tremendously moving to have this intergenerational dialogue, particularly on some of the subjects that came up in the conversation. And they had to do with inclusivity, which is something that is still an issue for so many people. And so this felt like a particularly important one. They all were, of course. But to hear the conversation flow from what kind of music do you like? And just, honestly, I wish I had filmed this, because when Kendra walked in and before we set up the camera, and her and Ken were talking like they were old pals, you wouldn't have, if you would have just heard the audio without seeing them, you would never have known that one was a teenager and one was a senior citizen. They just got on so well. It was so lovely to see. And so many like music things in common, so that was really nice. But we hit some particularly interesting and important themes. And so I invite Daniel and Kendra to come up here. Just introduce yourselves. There's actually, I was lucky enough to get a bit of footage of Kendra after the interview also, so I have some of you talking, so you don't need to do as much on stage. Anywhere either side is fine. And just introduce yourselves, please.
Good evening. I'm Daniel Boxer. I'm 16 years old. I go to school over here, and I'm happy I'm here tonight.
Hi, I'm Kendra. I'm 14 years old. I go to College Churchill High School.
When you heard about the project, what made you say yes, please?
I heard about it from Lola too, as well as Abby, and at the start I didn't really know what to expect, because when Orit first told me about all this, I was intrigued, and I was curious, because I usually do volunteer with seniors a lot, but I've never been a part of a project of this magnitude, this creative, this unique. So I'm incredibly grateful to be here and be part of the project.
It's mutual.
Yeah, I heard about this through my mom and actually through you too. And I was really happy that I got to do this, because just the opportunity to do this is amazing. Like getting to learn about another person's story. Like how often do you get to do that? I was just really lucky to be able to take part.
I was in her presence when I was telling my friend and her mother about the project, and I just saw Kendra's face light up. I could see her kind of almost mouthing the words. And it was such a genuine, authentic interest that I was like, well, it's supposed to be 15 and 16. Yes, of course you can. Going into it, you kind of already answered that you weren't sure what to expect. What in the experience of sitting with Ken did you find particularly interesting or meaningful to you?
Well, again, going into it, I didn't really know what to expect, but as I walked in there, I sat down, I was greeted with water and cookies, and I was seated down. It was a beautiful house. I was surprised at how meaningful his story was, and how I got to take a part of it, and how I'm here and being given a platform. And as the conversation flowed, and I saw you constructing a song and filming everything, I felt really grateful that I could be a part of it and be given a platform to share someone else's story, because that's very important.
Thank you, Jen.
Well, it was just it was genuinely like one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. Like getting to do this as like I personally really love music, and like it was just so fascinating. Just getting to see like all the parts and processes, and just getting to meet Ken. Like Ken was amazing and lovely.
He was. Thank you so much, Ken and Daniel. I'm going to show some of the video, and you'll see for yourself the things that unfolded and their importance.
I grew up with, very shocked because I grew up in a Jewish community, secular Jewish community for the most part, and we went to, I went to Hebrew school at the synagogue. I went to the YMHA, which is campus, when it was downtown, to go for, what was called juvenile age, boys, and we go and do little groups and do programs and go to gym pool things. My same friends that I'm good with, the same good friends that I'm with, are the same people we did that together.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I enjoyed it because I was with my friends, so it was fun. But I mean, I know for me, I was always afraid that I would be somebody who would know I was gay. I mean, if you show any like femininity or as a man, and they just get mad, and so being always that kind of publicly guided me through my whole social career.
I'm really curious what the vibe is. Is it discussed openly?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, for me, not as much actually, because I was in Argentina. It's more of like a conservative, just as a whole, our country is more conservative. I can definitely like confirm that like here in Canada, like kids in my grade, it was like a discussion that like started like at a young age.
Being in an environment of school that welcomes or opens that, this is awesome.
That's amazing.
Yes.
What about your school, or is that like something that comes up in conversations?
There's like for the most part it's pretty accepting. Like at my school there's a hockey academy, and some of the students there are pretty homophobic.
So there is still that kind of
and we keep on just making jokes about gay stereotypes.
That's disheartening. I mean, it's the same when I hear that there's still anti-Semitism, and it's like, it's not gone, it's just, there's just more aware people now.
Oh, sorry, you have a favorite musician.
What was that?
You have a favorite musician.
John Ryan would probably be one of my favorites. But it's hard to say because Pink Floyd, Pink Floyd, Rolling Stones, I don't know, but he's everywhere. I think got me through a lot of my life. I used to go to, as a kid, when I had an allowance money, I would go to Sound Record Man, learn some shopping circles every Saturday. I loved record stores. I had a store and I used to listen to jazz.
You had a store?
I used to have a old frame store in America.
Wow, here in Winnipeg? In Winnipeg?
In Osmond Village.
Oh, wow.
23 years. When I think back now about I wish I loved it. It was great. I had a lot of fun memories. But it was also not a great period, I think. As much as I enjoyed it, it kind of affected my whole life. And I think things would be different. I would have gone to Hebrew University that year and traveled Europe, and I would have gone to work on my master's degree instead of working in the family business for the next 23 years. It's better to be forgiving and understanding and have a anger and all that.
My friends say that a lot.
someone passes away, and one of us in death, and funeral, we're not supposed to be left alone. So we care with the songs and keep their soul company on that journey. And so I started working, part-time here and there when somebody passed away. And then I've been doing it now for a while. I work nights. When someone passes away, I sit there and wait for myself. I love it. I find the job very calming.
What an
Peaceful. It's given me a time to really think about things, reflect, and do a lot of self-help in it, and reading. I just have whatever. But people have lives, even though it may not be like you, or who's gonna fascinate you like some way.
That's the whole premise of this project, is everyone has a story, everyone has a life.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know that their customs were very. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah. Was it interesting? You weren't sure to add anything about it because you just, when we were talking about Jewish identity, but I think your instincts were right. Like there's a.
Like I don't have that. I don't have any. I don't have any. I don't have a Jewish identity.
Yeah.
I don't have a religious identity.
Yeah. But I think it's actually was the smart thing to do to not try to say anything there. Like I think the hard listening when it's talking about their identity struggles. Just listening is also part of is a way to participate.
I was I grew up.
I'm not officially a senior citizen yet, but I need to look at things farther and farther from me than I used to. It was a little bit hard to hear what was being said. The audio was a little muffled in that one, but the job that Ken does now was of particular interest. He did used to have a picture framing store, but then he shifted into this job where he sits with departed souls. And I grew up very secular, so I didn't know that that was part of Jewish tradition, that a soul cannot be left unattended between death and burial. So even I'm learning about my own culture in this project. And so someone has to have the job of sitting with a soul, and that is what Ken does for a living. And I know Kendra found that really interesting. I did too. Daniel knew about it already. So that comes into the song as well, because he says in that it has showed him, it has made him really think that everybody has a story, which is exactly what this project is about. So thank you so much, Ken, for meeting with us. Now, I wasn't sure how I wanted to approach his identity in song form, but you may have noticed, I did while I was sitting across from him, that Ken wears a Magen David, a Jewish star, and a little rainbow flag. And I thought if I just say that in the first line of the song, then people will hopefully understand. There was so much talk about music in that particular interview as well, that it was, we talked about music being a mood elevator and a fixer for so many of our moods. So I thought also make this one have some oomph.
things, the good things that happen on each and every day. Parking spot, a flower, or a smile, and for a while everything's okay. He says he's always had a little fear somewhere in his heart, and staying somewhat hidden used to feel more smart. But he no longer wants that. He wants the big parade. He wants a world where no one out there has to ever feel afraid. He's so kind and he's so open, feels so good when truth is spoken. Though there are always troubles still, he sometimes wonders what his life would be if he had chosen another destiny. But it's just another picture frame. You know, the soul would be the same. Night king sits beside departed souls. He keeps them company, thinks of their goals, the ones unfinished, that everybody's got. He sings them songs and knows there's mystery in each and every plot. And people should feel safety, people should be heard and be included in deed and word. This life is hard, but it can be so good when you get the chance to feel more understood. He knows Hashem has got his magic plan that he himself might never understand. But he thinks kindness is the only way to go. He speaks up when he should, 'cause that's how you help kindness grow. He's so kind and he's so open, feels so good when truth is spoken. Though there are always troubles still, sometimes wonders what his life would be if he had chosen another destiny. But it's just another picture frame. You know, the soul would be the same.
I feel like I'm getting away with something here, and I'm getting to sort of steal people's souls so that I get to have more songs in my pile of songs. But are you starting to see that from such a specific person can be such a universal set of themes? Like, doesn't that just kind of blow your mind? It's what makes me love art, songwriting in particular, so very much. I think the next interview you'll hear about and see really exemplifies that extra. I know that there was a little bit of reluctance and shyness going into this interview, but still courage and willingness. And what transpired in it was a kind of courage and honesty that I thought, that I remember after the fact, Sydney said, "Is that too much?" No. I wish I had heard this stuff when I was a teenager and known that everybody has their struggles. It would have made my next 20 years feel a lot more okay and normal. So, and the participants, the students involved in this, their engagement in the conversation was nothing short of profound. I would like to invite Brendan and Julia. You know the drill.
My name is Julie. I'm 16 years old and I go to school here at Grey County.
My name is Brennan and I'm 15 years old and I go to Sturgeon Heights Collegiate.
Going into this, what made you interested in it, and were there any concerns or fears going into it?
So I heard about this program also through Lola, and I thought this just could be a really cool opportunity. I do like different volunteer opportunities and stuff, but I've never done something quite like this, and I thought, why not try it out?
So I managed to hear this through a somewhat lucky predicament, I guess you could say. You happen to be roommates with one of my dad's best friends. So, of course, he was just like, "Oh, Brenda would love this. All right, let's send it to you. Let's send it to his dad." All right, so then my dad calls me in and he says, "Well, lucky you. You've got an opportunity to do this." So, of course, I immediately said yes, because the chance of being able to hear somebody's wonderful life story was just something I could not pass up. And I still can't believe I did, because it was just so wonderful. I'm speechless about it because I enjoyed it so much.
I should pay them. Same sort of question. Was there anything that transpired in the interview that surprised you, or that was special for you in particular, or interesting to you in particular?
For me, this interview was really special because I don't get to see my grandparents that often because they live in Argentina, and being able to connect as a senior and have that like sort of sit down conversation and really like turn off your phone and listen and talk about your lives is really cool. And I don't know, you don't get to experience that every day.
What can I say? Yeah, please.
Well, I think the thing that surprised me the most when this happened was my dad was like, "Well, your grandma just likes to tell you the same story over and over, so don't be surprised if this happens." Of course, you can imagine my surprise when I enter the door of this wonderful house, all color coordinated, a yellow dining room, an all green kitchen, all color coordinated. And the first thing I hear is, "Oh, welcome. I'm sorry I couldn't have cake. I didn't have enough eggs." And so I was so happy when we hadn't even made it through half the questions and we were already an hour in because we just kept going down. New stories, new routes. It was so wonderful. And the fact that this whole thing is being recorded by a songwriter too, and then you get to listen to this song. I'm totally not being biased here, but I think that it has probably one of the better messages of all these sons because of just how the interview went. And I was so happy with how things turned out.
Julie, you know, first of all, the house, I think we all, like every home, I used to tour by suitcase for over a decade and go in and out of people's homes. And I didn't get to do that during the pandemic. And so to do this project allowed me into that, people's spaces and to see how did they set up and what are the colors here. And that was a huge part of the experience. And this house in particular was like a magazine. For you, Julie, was there, like, what was it like to hear a song that was based on stuff that you heard and witnessed in conversation? Was that weird?
I really enjoyed like knowing the full backstory behind songs. I like researching the meanings behind some songs that I listen to, but it's not quite the same when I was there for the interview and like hearing like someone's life story and then hearing that in a song form. That was just super cool.
Cool. So we got some more positive feedback on this. Thank you so much. You want to have one more?
Oh no, I
Thank
think
we're gonna come up with some kind of publishing deal together. Thank you so much, Julie and Brendan. And you're gonna see for yourselves. And we have this one and one more after this one in case you're engaging your sitting position.
But as far as I've been able to figure out, my great Baba and Zeta on my mother's side came from Russia. And I think my grandparents on my father's side, I think they were raised in Winnipeg, my grandparents, but my great-grandparents, I think were from Poland. We grew up in the street. I'm thinking, I've always thought about writing a book called The Bluebell Chronicles. Because that's the street I grew up in. And every single person on the street, half a block down, everybody had their dysfunction. Not just a little bit, I'm talking major. But, you know, a lot of people struggle with those kinds of things. Absolutely. You know? I believe that God knows what's in my heart and knows who I am and what I am. And if it's meant for me to believe in something more specific, then I will. Right. But right now I'm happy with the route that I am. Interesting and beautifully articulated. Thank you. Yeah. Right?
I mean, to kind of add on to that,
Yes, please do.
because from what I've gathered from what you said, what it means for you to be like a part of your Jewish community is to be reconnecting with your like past, because of how, like you said, you didn't really grow up doing most of the celebrations, those campus holidays. To me, it seems like you're reconnecting with like your old past to reconnect with your history.
I think that's true, or the desire to. I had to make it for myself and for my family.
All right. How about, could you tell us about the first job you had?
First job I had was at McDonald's, where I got fired. Then I worked at Rocco Gas, pumping gas. There were 3 of us there. We were the first female gas attendants that we knew of in the city of Winnipeg. That's cool. Then after that, I went into nursing. Many years later, my life kind of took a nosedive, and I had to start dealing with some of the issues that I had. And I decided that I needed to get to know my mother as a woman, not as just a lady in a mood, you know. I wanted to. So we were sitting across from each other drinking our coffee. We both smoked in the day. And I said to her, Mom, if you could go back and be anything you wanted to be, what would you be? To her, you know, I think I want to be a nurse. a light bulb went off in my head, and everything started to make sense to me. That having been said, I was nursing for 45 years. You know, it served me well. I traveled. I met tons of people. I've done tons of things. You know, so. I had this manager who I loved. I was working at the time in ICU, and I had a hell of a day. And I had one client. He was intubated. He was very, very sick, and we had just sedated him and got him to sleep. And I just sat down, and I'm starting a chart, and the surgeon comes in. And he wants to do a gastroscopy on him right now, and no, a liver biopsy. That's what he wanted to do. And I needed to get him ready. And I was pissed off, and I said to the doctor, now, like, it's 8 o'clock, like, what's the matter with you, blah, blah, blah. And I said, we just want him to sleep. Like, he's been pulling at his tubes. So I stayed late, and I did what I had to do. And the next morning, I called in to my manager's office because the surgeon reported me, my attitude. So she said to me, what were you thinking? I said, you know, I worked like a dog all day, and I saw people I would settle down, and you know, why is he coming at that time of night to do the liver biopsy? And she goes, he was in surgery all day. This was the only time we had free, and let's not kid ourselves. We were pissed off because he wanted to go home. This had nothing to do with the patient. And I'm like, I had to think about that. But she was right, really. I mean, yeah, I felt bad for the patient, but I was upset because I was tired and I wanted to go home. And I needed to learn that lesson because it's so easy to justify, you know, negative feelings and actions that you do in life. Well, it was a huge lesson for me.
I feel like I want us all to be like a moment where we were called on something and went, oh, I guess you're right. Do you know that? And like that's one of the things that sometimes teachers will call me. There's some specific moments where like I didn't do well on something and I know like okay, I could study more, I could have done other things. I didn't get the mark I wanted, and then like they're like, well, like Julie, you can do better. Like this is like this is on you. And I'm like, well, like you have to look back and be like, oh yeah, no, I didn't study. And I just don't like it correlates. It's not like the teachers out there. Yeah. It feels like I know you're not there.
Beautiful.
I really looked at a neighbor kind of like, because like it really paints a picture. Like you decided I could like get it.
I like I am a right looking about because that just ties into like everything. Because like I said earlier, you just get it because you were there. You got to hear what we talked about.
Yeah. One of the lines that stuck out the most, thank you, is when you said she loves the things upon her shelf, you know, and that, you know, she's learning to love herself. That one was like, if that could have been all you sang, I would have known you got it. Thank you so much.
It's been more about your honesty and your truthfulness.
Thank you. Take me now.
That might be my favorite edit of the entire film. Take cake now. There were a lot of tears shed at this particular one, and it was you see that it wove in and out of stories and almost confessions, but there were pauses along the way as anecdotes were brought up that were particularly psychologically reflective. It was, yeah.
when I took home that experience to write a song from it, that's what I wanted to give back. You might not guess it, looking at this room, so bright and cheerful, no hint of gloom. I greet you with a real smile and a tray of cake, but like everyone, I've known heartache. In my neighborhood, on the street I grew, each house had secrets that no one ever knew. I don't know why each of them was broken. Their truest lives were always left unspoken. But it's alright. I have my heart, and I've made my life into a work of art. And when it doesn't fit, just like a glove, I know it's alright. We're all just learning how to love. First I was a child, then I was quite wild. I tried my hat at marriage and all that. I reached out for the things I thought I lacked, and when I squeezed too hard, they sometimes cracked. And I moved forward, but at times the past, its dark long memories, its shadow casts. Love keeps changing, but it's always there. And when it hurts, it just proves I care. And it's alright. I have my soul, and it's a blessing to be grown old. In my hardest hours, a voice comes from above and says, it's alright. We're all just learning how to love. Love is strong, and it's deep inside. And the more I grow, the less I hide. I love each thing upon my shelf, and I'm getting good at loving myself. And my children need me, and my love is strong. I know exactly where it belongs. And there'll be new life soon coming through the gates. And oh, to meet it, I cannot wait. I am a white cloud looking from above. I know it's alright. We're all just learning how to love. We're all just learning how to love. Now, for the record, I did invite the senior participants to come on stage if they wanted to say a word or two, and Sydney does or doesn't at this point. It was a maybe. No obligation.
Can I stand and say it?
Sure. Do you want a microphone?
No.
No? Well, then listen carefully.
I think they might be, but I can manage. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, if any of you ever have an opportunity to do a project like this, it was one of the most wonderful experiences I had. The two students, I just adored them both. Their willingness to listen to my Michigas and all of that. But Orit, I thank you very much. I'm sure everybody else here feels the same way I do. You're terrific.
I kind of fell in love with everybody. It's kind of a hard project to do because it's bonding. It really is bonding. Thank you, Sydney. All right, you've made it through 4 out of the 5. You're still here, as far as I can tell. And we've got one more, and this one has a sort of special feature because I will not be performing the song alone. Our last interview for the night was actually our first interview of the project. And this one, I didn't know what to expect. I had a picture in my head of how it should go, that we would sit in a place and I'd put the camera on and we'd talk and we would ask these questions and that's what would unfold. What unfolded was what felt like a tour of a museum. And you'll see in the footage that we walked into this home, the likes of which, even in all my travels, I have never seen. And every point of it was so fascinating that let me just show you around quickly, took 2 hours. Because it was all so fascinating and everything that was pointed at had a story. So you'll see the footage was hard to do because I was walking around and talking and trying to capture, but the questions were sort of being asked as we were going through hallways and looking at different things. And it was really just extraordinary to see everything that now, officially, it was Elliot being interviewed, but his wife Elaine was very much part of it too. And you'll see a little bit of her in the video as well. Before I talk too much and reveal too much, let me invite Chloe and Roshni to the stage, please.
Hi, my name's Roshni. I'm 16 and I go to Balmoral Hall. Hi, my name's Chloe Posh Golden. I'm also 16 and I also go to Balmoral Hall.
So I know you heard about the project, and I think the first time I asked her, well, why did you do it? She said, well, you're my friend. Was there anything that interested you or made you curious about the project? Either one of you or both of you can hopefully answer that.
Well, I'm pretty tied to my religious and cultural identity, and so it was very, very cool to see a different person who is also very tied to their religious and cultural identity. I'm pretty fascinated by different cultures, and so getting to see one so intricately and up close and from a very personal experience was super special and important, and I hope everybody gets a chance to do something like it. I remember when you told me you had got the grant and that you were going to do this project, and I immediately told you I wanted to be part of it because it was so interesting to me, and like hearing people's stories and especially you telling them in like a way of a song is just so interesting.
Cool. I know none of us expected to walk into the house that we walked into. What was your first impression when you walked in?
So much interesting things. I saw a collection, I'm pretty sure it was frogs. And it was, I walked in and I was just turning around and looking everywhere, because everywhere I looked it was so different. There was a birthing chair, there was so much.
And it was so interesting.
I think the birthing chair from Africa was a particular point of fascination for all of us.
Roshni, anything to add to that?
Well, I was actually late. Orit and Koi were already there. They had half set up. And so I was greeted by both of them, being like, come in, come in. Elliot and Ellie were nowhere in sight, and so I felt a little reserved. But the second I get there, there's like, I don't know if you've ever seen like at IKEA, they have these wine glasses that look like they've spilled, but they haven't actually. And so I just kept staring at the table. I was like, I think you're gonna spill. And she's like, no, it's just hilarious. So I felt pretty good after that. Do you have anything else that you would like to add before I show the video?
Thank you very much.
I will add that Elliot was the first official interview, and it was really set up, what is Jewish about this project? And so the questions were very much to try to get to know the human in the person, but also the Jewish identity, and of particular interest to me because it was, where does this Jewish community in Winnipeg come from? Was trying to get a bit of backstory of ancestry, and I don't know how much of that made it into the edit, but it was certainly a big part of the conversation.
My name is Elliot Saunders. I'm 8 years of age. I was born and raised in the city of Winnipeg, and I've been Jewish all my life. Maybe even before. My grandfather, who apparently was a man of means, decided that the programs that were happening in Russia, or Greater Russia at the time, might be disadvantageous to him and his family. And so he decided to examine places where his family lived in peace.
I want to ask some questions about what it was like to be Jewish growing up here, and what was...
Not so bad. One of my early memories was leaving school and getting beat up by kids because I was Jewish.
I think we could spend long. I think we could spend 3 hours. Most of these pieces are called Nazis. You've been to Japan, you've been to Africa, China.
This was my great-grandfather's clock. I think how smart Hashem was when he designed this world.
Why do you travel? Is it for to collect these?
No, just to have an exciting adventure.
Question, what is the thinking behind it? Do you feel any particular connection to Russia at all, since that's where your roots are from? How did you ever want to be?
Matchmaker, I happened to notice that the button that you're wearing and mine
The same? Are they the same? Yeah.
does yours say high in the middle?
Like Watson. No, ours just Sion. Sion is another word for Israel. And Chai means life, and it's a lot of Jewish people wear that around. Yeah, I see.
Oh, that's nice. I think my granddaughter voted on it as well.
And so, what were the policies in Canada then for coming?
I guess if you had money,
Yeah.
you could buy your way in.
Maybe. Yeah. So 3 generations, you're a 3rd generation Canadian. Yeah.
Thomas might get some vote.
Yeah, well, what's so good about it?
That you thought it was interesting.
Your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we liked our life, and we continue to enjoy it. This is one more aspect of remembering all the things that were wonderful.
I was really curious. I was excited to go learn and see the history. And as soon as I got here, I just walked in and I had to take a moment and just look around because there's so many amazing things in this house, and it was just amazing to see.
I've never really spoken to the older generations before, especially when I was outside of my own family.
Right.
And so I wasn't sure how to behave, I wasn't sure how to present myself, I wasn't sure how they were going to react to me. And so it just felt like a new experience.
And how do you think it went when you got here?
Oh, lovely. I had a fantastic time. This home is so welcoming, and I really feel like I got a good idea of the history of this house.
What would be your message to share with the world?
It was good at home.
To be tolerant.
There is a large world, and that large world has many interesting things. Don't limit yourself.
That was his message, made so much sense given the breadth of things in this home, that there is this great big world out there, and we shouldn't limit ourselves. We should explore it. And on a human and personal level, that is so much what this project was about. Go and meet other people, because your level of empathy will only get bigger and better the more people you talk to from up close. Before we perform the song, I believe Elliot wanted to come and say a word or two. Is that still true?
You're welcome on stage, or I can hand you the microphone.
I think everybody might be able to hear me.
Not bad.
And could you see me okay?
Yeah.
Am I handsome? This was really an experience because it gave me once again an opportunity to think back on what I've done and what I've accomplished. And I called it a remarkable life. I've been an underwater diver, a race car driver, motorcyclist. I've traveled through Western Europe, across Southern Africa, in a tent, no air conditioning. I crossed Eastern Asia from Hong Kong through places like Penang, Kuala Lumpur, and Bali. I've traveled by train, hovercraft, boat, camel, and even an elephant. I've ridden on a motorcycle 500,000 miles throughout the United States and across Canada. The question most people ask immediately is, what happens when it rains? And the answer is, you get wet. I've traveled through North and South United States, and yes, I've been to Sturgis 6 times. I have traveled by canoe across the Orange River. Elaine still bears the scars because I dumped her out of the boat by accident.
That's what it says.
But I think the most remarkable thing about all I've done and all I've ever seen and all I've experienced is the fact that I had a wife that enjoyed and participated in every bit of it. And that is probably the most remarkable thing about my life.
There was a lot of love in this project, a lot of evidence of love. And if you were feeling disheartened about the world, as I often do get, this project was one of the most uplifting human experiences of my life thus far, because of that. Just so much love. And although the song is about travel and all the places and wonderful things that you've seen, the essence of love that this couple showed. They've adopted children. They've adopted many a pet, all with interesting names. We all got to meet the dog named Taco. And it was also part of the experience. And so it was an honor, like it was with all of the participants, to just witness home and love and experience. We're going to perform the song with Chloe and Roshni participating, which I'm very excited about, and so should you be. And that will be the last song of the night. After that, I just have a few thank yous to give, and then I will let you go. But I will be at the front, the entrance to the theater, with a mailing list in case you want to see the fuller version of these interviews or find out more about these kinds of projects. Some people do private commissions of these kinds of songs, and you can also sign up for that. And there are some CDs of mine for sale by donation as well, English and Hebrew. With no further ado, don't forget to stay for the thank yous because they're really, really important. Come on. One person we should be profusely thanking is, I don't think any of this would have happened properly without his very skillful help. Please give a round of applause to Jerry, who has done sound and has the audio I think this is a really good song to end the night with. It's called Don't Stay Home Daydreaming. By the way, Roshni is playing a harmonium, which is a traditional Punjab instrument, and it was really extra special to have that be part of how this all came together. Thanks, Roshni. Well, my grandfather's father left fear in Rome, took off from Russia and made Winnipeg his home. Alone with no money, started working with his hands, took pride in his work, tall beside a tea stand. He did not stay home daydreaming, he got up and started scheming. The world is out there waiting, and the time to start is now. He made it in Greece, found an old eternal flame, and over there's Moses hanging in a picture frame, and a birthing chair from Africa, and a clock from England from my old grandpa. Everywhere you look, everywhere you see a piece of someplace and its history. The world is full of beauty and mystery, so don't stay home daydreaming. Don't stay home daydreaming. Go enjoy the life that's streaming. The world is full of beauty and shame that the Lord names. Go explore it, friend. Go explore it, unafraid. You are dismissed. You're not dismissed. You have to stay and hear the names of some people who made this so much more possible than it was. Would have been. And there may be a flower or two involved. I'm going to say the names, why I'm thanking them, and you don't come up for your flower until I've said all the names, or it's going to take an extra half an hour. And in no particular order. And I don't have my list, so we'll see how my memory is. The grant that this came from is from Jewish Foundation of Manitoba. And it takes a very special kind of good person to tell you about the same grant that they're applying for. And I wouldn't have even known about it if it wasn't for Alex Fosh-Golden. Thank you so much, Alex, because look what happened. Thank you. He got it too, which made me feel better. He got his, we both got our grants this year, so that was really, truly a gift. Thank you. Another person that needs to be thanked is my friend Corey. Corey was the roommate who took me in really in the very troubled times of the pandemic. I got to rent a room in his house, and he was so stoked about this project that he went out of his way to help me. I didn't know how to drive yet. He gave me a lot of rides to interviews, but he also heard me talk about it a lot. And he also was, in some cases, the first person to hear the first draft of songs, and your enthusiasm for it meant the world to me. So thank you, Corey. We get flowers. Someone who I could consult with in the grant application process was someone I knew would know what she was talking about, and she is also someone who gave me some presence on this very stage in the Jewish community, and who also made me feel very welcome in the Jewish community here. And I don't think I would have gotten this grant, I don't think I would have even envisioned it without the help of Carla, so thank you so much. Sally Papso is the very first human being that I interviewed as part of Stories for Song, and she set the bar so high it really made me want to do more of these. She also has become the home I am now renting a space in again. So it's I went from Corey's to Sally's. Her story is truly remarkable, and you can, if you join my mailing list or Facebook, you can check out her story as well. She helped in the last week of me prepping for this particular moment in details you can't even imagine, including flowers. So another very, very genuine thanks to Sally. A couple of other mentions who I don't think were able to make it tonight is Grant Simpson and Tim Osmond, who were the ones who hired me for Stories to Song, without whom I never would have known about this way of being a songwriter. And so there is a flower for them, and they will just have to hear about it from you. Every single student who participated in this project, and every single senior that participated in this project, please also come and get your flower. I can't ever thank you enough for sharing your souls with me the way that you did. And lastly, I had help. This was not something I knew how to pull off. I've performed all over the world, but I have not organized an event at a theater with programs. I wouldn't have known who does the postering and who does the sound, and the person who stepped up to help me is also, you heard a lot of the kids say, and I heard about it through Lola. Well, first of all, Lola gets an extra flower because she designed that beautiful poster that you saw, which blew me away. But also, Lola's mom showed such enthusiasm for the project and helped recruit more youth for it, and with Lola's help, and was also someone I could consult with about how does one organize an event at the Jewish community's Burning Theater, and was like you get a whole bouquet because this really couldn't happen without you. So please come and get your flowers. I will give them out, and then if you want to say hello, I will be at the table at the front with some CDs and a mailing list. And thank you so much for coming and witnessing one of the most beautiful things I've ever got to do in my life.